Most producers have a basic level of mixing knowledge, and that's fantastic for a basic mix. But what tricks are the pros using right now that separate their mixes from the majority of other producers? What's going on, everybody? I'm Fearless, and what I've done today is thrown together 5 mind-blowing mixing tricks that you probably don't know yet, and that will make a drastic difference in the music you make starting today. The first technique is mid-side processing, and before we jump into that, we gotta make sure that our beat is leveled first so that we don't overdo it. All right, and what I like to do is actually mono the master signal, so we're gonna do that using Ableton's utility right here. Okay, and at this point, I'm gonna turn off the melody, and then I'm gonna go ahead and level all of my other drums together. This is my favorite way to do it. All right, now let's go ahead and bring this melody back in. Let's go ahead and talk about this mid-side processing now. And guys, make sure to watch this video all the way through, because even if you think you have a general understanding of what we're talking about, we're gonna be diving into the nitty-gritty details and covering everything so you can do a perfect job at every step. So I have a mid-side plugin from Goodhertz called Mid-Side. This is not the only way to do this. I'll show you with Ableton stock plugins afterwards. All right, and there's a couple things that I like to use on this plugin. I like to use the stereo width, the side, and then the mono below. For my mono below, I'm gonna pick a hertz frequency range that I want to be mono below that range, right? So usually somewhere around 100 works great for me, and that's just gonna make sure the kick and 808 are all gonna be in mono. The next thing I like to do is play with the stereo width, and while the beat probably sounds good as it is already, sometimes if you add a little bit of stereo width, it can make the beat sound more fuller, and the things that are panned to the left and right are gonna stand out and stick out a little bit more. So already this is making a huge difference in the mix. Let me turn it on and off so you can hear really quick. So what we're gonna do is just go up in dBs, and remember, a little bit goes a long ways, so we don't need to go too crazy with this. Let's see. Now let me show you some Ableton equivalents if you don't have the money for this plugin. You can go ahead and use the utility on your kick in 808, and you can go ahead and turn on this mono mode, and that's how you can ensure everything is mono. You can also use the utility on your master and use this width knob to go ahead and boost up the width. And for your mid-side, you can actually download this Vox & Go plugin called Mid-Side for free, and that's where you can boost your side gain and play with it there. The next thing we're gonna take a look at is low-end dynamic EQing. And this is a cleaner way to do the side chaining. So you can obviously do this with your kick and 808, but also if you have any percussion or drums that have lows in them, like toms for instance, you can go ahead and duck the 808 when the toms play. So if you have FabFilter Pro Q3, you can sidechain from any input you want. So we could sidechain from the kick right here, and then we would find what frequency we want to duck, and what we can do is press this down on the outside here, and we can press auto and do this, and it will sidechain to the kick. But if you don't have FabFilter, this is how you can do it in Ableton. So what you can do in Ableton is grab your envelope follower and put that on your kick channel, and this is gonna listen for the kick. Next, you're gonna want it to duck the EQ on the 808 when the kick hits. You can press this map button right here. We can go over to our bass, and we can go ahead and click on 1 and then click on the gain. So what it's gonna do now is the gain is gonna go up and down when the kick hits. So obviously we're gonna need to go in here and make sure everything's good to go. So we're probably gonna drop down the Q dramatically. We're gonna pull back the frequency to whatever we want to duck. In fact, let's go ahead and change this. And what you wanna do is you wanna set this to 50, and that way when the EQ is going, it's not gonna start below the curve. All right, and if you're trying to find the precise frequency on your kick, for example, you just wanna find where it's hitting at the top. So maybe somewhere around here, and I'm hovering over about 55, 56 hertz, and change it to 50, 5. The next thing we're taking a look at is the filters on Simpler. You can actually change these filters right here and get some crazy results. So right here you see that there is a clean filter that is applied by default. But if we change this to MS2, a drive knob pops up. And this can also be used to add extra distortion. So for instance, if we wanted to use this on the kick, instead of gaining it up 2 decibels here, we could go ahead and push it 2 decibels in drive. What I ended up doing is turning this kick up 5 dB into the gain, and I turned this other one up 5.2 dB of gain, and they're roughly right around the same level. Now go ahead and try this out with your 808s, snares, hi-hats, and different drums like that, because it can add a little bit of that extra grit and allow them to punch through the mix even better. Really quick, guys, I have to let you know that this video is sponsored by Audio Hacks, and we just want to show you one of these crazy features from our newest drum kit, Blizzard Storm, that's an absolute game changer when it comes to mixing down your beats. After that, we'll get right back into the video. So on top of this new kit being an absolute powerhouse of drum sounds, we also included our Drum Thumper Ableton effect racks that you can use in 2 clicks for perfect effects. Check out this 808 one really quick. We're going to delete the 808 off of this channel, so all we're left with is the MIDI. We're going to go up here and click on the 808 effect rack, and it should just work out of the box. Let's check out our hi-hat one as well, and I'm going to just delete everything off of this channel. You can visit the link in the description below to learn more about the Blizzard Storm drum kit. Now back into the video. The next one is a game changer, and it allows you to get even more control when you're adding effects to your different tracks. So let's say you wanted to add reverb to your hi-hats. The normal way to do it would be to put it right on the hi-hat chain, go ahead into your reverb and play with the mix to adjust it and get it perfectly. But the better way to do this is to select both of these and press Command G or Control G on Windows. That's going to go ahead and group them into an instrument rack. What you want to do is go ahead and click on this right here, and you can notice you can add multiple layers. So if you want to go ahead and duplicate this layer now, we can. And we can make one of them the dry signal and one of them the wet signal. So let's name this one dry and this one wet. What we can do is we can go ahead and go to the dry signal, and we're going to take off the reverb altogether. And on our wet signal, we can go into the reverb here and turn the mix all the way up to 100%. And this way, we are going to be dialing in the effects using this volume control right here. But we can go ahead and dial this down quite a bit. And let's go ahead and actually put it down all the way and bring it up. All right, and for testing purposes, let's go ahead and dial this in using the mix on the track like the normal way everybody already does it. Now let's go ahead and compare that against the hi-hat that we use the dry and wet layers instead. So let's go ahead and put this EQ right here on the wet channel, and we're going to make sure none of the lows in there because we don't want any reverb from the lows on our hi-hat. And we can actually solo just the wet amount in here. And on the dry signal, maybe we just want to duck part of the lows, but we don't want to do all this extra stuff we did over here with the reverb. So that right there is a perfect example of how we can change the EQ for both of these, and it's going to come out and sound way more cleaner with that reverb applied. Let's listen to it. Absolute game changer. Let's go ahead to our wet signal, and we're going to go ahead and put a glue compressor on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the glue compressor side chaining to the dry signal. And what that's going to do is you're only going to hear the reverb after the signal has already played. So that way the reverb isn't muddying up the signal. And we're going to go ahead and pick our hi-hat signal here. We're going to pick the dry post FX right here. So now what we can do is we can change our attack to be really quick, maybe just a short release. We'll turn the ratio up. And let's listen to this with the threshold. And the next thing we're talking about is applying an EQ on the master channel. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to go ahead and take our utility and we're going to turn it down maybe 5 or 6 dB. And we're doing this so that the gain that we add with our EQ does not push our mix too far into the clipper. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put this before the clipper, but after our mid-side plugin here. So things that you can do with this are make the kicks, 808s, snares, or certain instruments stick out a little more if you find them to be lacking in the mix. As you can see, we're adding just a little bit here, maybe 1 to 2 dBs tops in each of the frequency ranges. Now what we want to do is go ahead and gain stage everything we just did. Now we can go over here and turn down the output to about -0.9. What we can do now is we can take our utility and put it back to 0 since everything is balanced fairly close at least. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching and supporting the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you got some value from this video, please destroy that subscribe button and slap the hell out of that like button for 100 years of good luck. And what I'll do is I'll provide you with more videos to help you level up your production skills. And as a quick reminder, just remember that consistency is the greatest catalyst for success. So all you have to do is show up every day and take what is rightfully yours in this world. Peace.